said, let's go ahead and since they said they're coming, let's do the outline. So we said, okay, everybody, that's where we're going. We lost about half, you know, cancel that.
Three, four. Test 1, 2, 3, 4. Test. Test check 1, 2, 3, 4. Test 1, 2, 3, 4.
Mic check 1, 2. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Mic check 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just a little bit more is going to be good. There you go. Mic check 1, 2. Perfect.
Test check, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ladies and gentlemen, we're just 10 minutes away from auction time. If you haven't picked up your bid number yet, please step up to the front table and grab a bid number. You will need that to purchase today. Also, those of you online, we want to welcome you online bidders. Hopefully you're hearing us okay. Chauncey's kind of checking on all those things for us, but let us know if you're having any problems. Those of you online throughout the day, if you have any questions, concerns, problems, anything you'd like verified or whatever, go to the message window on your screen, type your question in, press enter. Chauncey will relay those questions on to Jeff or I if there's something he can't handle, but he's a pretty sharp young fella, so he'll probably answer those questions for you. Be with us here, grab your bid numbers. 10 minutes, we'll get underway with the auction right at 1 o'clock sharp. Thank you. If this is just like church, I feel kind of out of place. Ladies and gentlemen, just a little less than 5 minutes till we get underway. 5 minutes. If you've just stepped in and haven't picked your bid number up, please step up and grab one. Those of you online, again, go ahead and just say welcome Chauncey or something in the chat window or the message window there. Make sure that everything's hooked up there. You can go to the, there is a practice lot that you can go in and punch some numbers in if you want, play with that a little bit if you wish, and make sure you're all correctly logged in. Nothing worse than waiting to the going, gone and hitting a number and says you haven't registered correctly yet. Don't do that to us and to yourself today. So you can go right ahead, folks. You can bid on some of the, on 1, 2, or tracks 1, 2, or 3 as they come up there. You go ahead and bid on those a little bit, just to see your bids get tallied or posted. You'll know everything's working there, and you'll be prepared to bid when the time comes. Thank you. Test check. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'd certainly like to welcome you all to the public auction of the Doris Weibert estate, located here in Weston County, town of Upton. We sure got a beautiful, cool but fresh kind of a fall day today, and we certainly appreciate the nice weather, the nice summer we've had throughout the area. Been a good summer. We're working today for the estate of Doris Weibert. I want to introduce her daughters, the daughters of the late Fred and Doris Weibert. Marguerite Cullum up front here, Marguerite from over in Custer, and Judy Weibert Casola right behind there. Everybody here in town knows Judy, and those are the daughters of Fred and Doris, you bet. These young ladies are doing a great job as co-personal representatives for their parents' estate, and I've enjoyed working with them all along here. You know, the Bradines and the Weibert family go back a lot of years. My parents knew Fred and Doris years ago when they ranched down in the Fairburn country and later moved to Hermosa. We had a farm sale for them back then, and you know, they were both raising kind of wild kids back in those days, and so they got to know each other pretty well. Fred and Doris moved to Upton in 1998, I believe, and bought this property then, had lived there ever since. So moving on here, we're Bradine Auctions out of Custer. Again, that's back where we met the Weibert family. I'm Ron Bradine, auctioneer broker. Auctioneer and a Wyoming real estate broker today. My partner, Mr. Jeff Storm, auctioneer and also has a Wyoming broker's license. My nephew Chauncey's here with us today. Chauncey's doing all the high-tech things, working with the internet bidders, keeping us straight on everything. We appreciate him being here today. I mentioned a little earlier, but I want to welcome all the online bidders today. It's not a secret. It's kind of the trend lately. We have more online bidders than we do here in the crowd. I don't know if it's something about us personally or whatever, Jeff, but I see it about all the auctions around. The people just like to bid online. So again, we welcome all of them on the online and in the crowd here today also. Again, I just mentioned to you folks, but if you just happen to get online, make sure you're properly registered. Hit that practice lot a time or two. Go ahead and bid on the low prices on tracks 1, 2, and 3 a little bit, just to actually see your bids post and know that everything's working fine for you. When the time comes that you really are serious about bidding, we don't want you to pop up and say you're not properly registered. We don't want to see that happen. Online bidders also, please be very careful. We've had problems in the past, somebody bidding in the wrong window or doing something wrong. Just please pay close attention. If you have any problems, any questions at all, type into that message window for Chauncey, push the send button. He'll do his very best to answer questions. There are no foolish questions here today, neither for you in the crowd or online. Go ahead and ask those questions. All we have to do here today is sell this beautiful property to you. We'll take all the time it needs to get everybody tuned in, knowing exactly what you're doing. I'm going to get into a little bit of description about the property. We'll talk about the terms and conditions today. And finally, the method of sale that we're going to use to offer 2 tracts and 1 unit and sell to whichever entity will pay the most for that. Same story, I'll stop along the way about any time. Raise your hand, type in the message window if you have any questions throughout the process here today. We'll move along just as quickly as we can to get to the bidding part of things, and things will move along pretty quickly when that happens. I'm going to go to the bidder's packet. I think my bidder's packet, those of you online will have the exact same documents. Those of you in the crowd, I think have got a bidder's packet also. You can follow along if you wish. But a little bit about the house. I'm sure you're all aware or have seen it and are accustomed to the house and all. 2,000 square feet on the main floor, ranch-style home with an oversized attached 2-car garage. The main level features 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths, a spacious kitchen, dining room, and family room, also a nice living room. The mostly unfinished lower level includes 2 non-conforming bedrooms. The bedroom windows just aren't large enough to really call them bedrooms, but that's what they are at this point. Also a 3/4 bath, an abundance of storage. Amenities include a well-appointed kitchen and appliances, the attractive fireplace and pellet stove, and also a pellet stove downstairs, high-efficiency hot water furnace, a large covered deck, quality doors and flooring throughout the home. Also, folks, the 1,280 square foot shop includes a full concrete floor, 3 roll-up doors. 1 stall is insulated and heated. Other improvements include the lawn shed, a large storage shed, and the interesting old drive-in, the old vintage drive-in back there. And I found out today that did come out of Osage. It was the M-Bar hamburger stand in Osage. I think they told me that those came in on a railroad car. They'd build them, and they built one in Osage, and it ended up in Fred and Doris's backyard sometime or another. So how that all happened, we'll never know. But again, this interesting sizable lot that we're talking about today, 3+ acres, nicely thin ponderosa pine timber, well as the shade trees within the fenced yard. It's all conveniently located just a short walking distance from both schools, the pool, the athletic field, and as well as just adjoining the east city limits, Wyoming state lands to the east side. We're located on Cedar Street, which is scheduled for repaving and utilities upgrades in the near future. So folks, just the location of this property could not be better. Are there any questions you have about the property itself? We're going to talk about the plat here in a minute, the 2 different lots we're offering, this type of thing. Do you have any questions about the house? I know the girls are here, could probably answer a lot of questions if we can't. Any questions about the house? One thing I note, folks, in my career, I'll bet not 5% of the homes I've sold over the years when you look at how they're built and you see copper sewer pipes down through the basements and all, who in the world puts copper sewer pipes in a house today? This house was built right, certainly been well cared for. Could have used a little updating and all, certainly. We acknowledge that, but what a well-built home and a great location it is. The yard and all is just gorgeous. You know, that backyard's got all fenced in. Most of it is deer-proof fencing, as Doris was a master gardener. She had a beautiful garden out there all the time, and even her big strawberry bed, she enjoyed her gardening in the backyard. No doubt about it. And just in my notes here again, note that there's pellet stoves both up and down. I think Judy was just showing me, you know, I always said Fred was always kind of a cowboy engineer, if I can say that. Sharp man, he always was. But he had I think Judy just showed me, he had a chute rigged up in the garage where he could open it up, flip a little lid open and slide a big plank down and slide the pellets down the plank from the garage in there. And some of those kind of cute little deals where it just had Fred's name written all over them. A lot of little extras in and around that house. Questions you have on the property itself before we move on? Well, those of you if you want to move to the plat, and this plat was just prepared by Engineering Associates out of Sundance, Wyoming. Nice people to work with there. It's kind of a small copy of it, so it's a little bit hard to read. But if you can familiarize yourself, the dark brown boundary is the entire property we're offering today, 3.47 acres. You see the little dotted line up in it'd be the upper left-hand corner. That's 1.01 acres, including the home. It includes all of the outbuildings, the little hamburger stand, the whole thing, the shop, and adequate amount of room to the south of the shop there to be able to get in and out of that shop okay. Tract number 2 that we're offering kind of has a panhandle on it there. I read about 75 feet of frontage on Cedar Street to ensure access to all of tract number 2, 2.46 acres. Now to the south, folks, we believe that is city-owned property. It looks like a street, it acts like a street, it has everything would be a street, except the city says it's not a street. So I'm not here to talk for the city. Whether that's an access down the road if you were to further want to develop the property or not, that's an issue with the city of Upton. I'm not here to make any guarantees or anything on that at all. But we do believe it's a piece of land that does belong to the city of Upton. A little bit about the corners. The corners now have all been set on the property. Let's start up with on what I would call the northwest corner of the property. Just due to platting years ago, whatever, there's just a little jog in the line up there in the front yard. It just shows it's so wide, and then I think it gets 13 feet wider as it goes on down to the south corner, to the southwest corner. I think the southwest corner is very self-explanatory. There's a flag right now that would show the southwest corner of tract number 1 also. When you go up to what I call the northeast corner, a little bit of confusion. There's actually 4 pins back in that area in the northeast corner, but there's 1 pin right in the fence corner, but actually the real corner is about 20 feet, another 20 feet east. The fence there gets out into that, what I believe is the state land out there now. But so it looks like the property is about 20 feet deeper than the fence line out there shows. So you go down then to the south, what I call the southeast corner. Earlier there was I think they had that wrongly marked. I didn't want to get a range war started with the neighbor or anything, but they had that pin marked that I think was on the other side of the street, and we brought it to their attention, and they have now set the pin or found the pin that I think is correct. In the same story, it's about 20 feet east of the fence line there, but quite a ways from the gentleman's home that's got the nice house just south of that. Questions about that map or plat in any way? I think you've all seen, I didn't mention it, but you've all seen what would be the southeast corner of the house lot of tract 1. It sticks out like a sore thumb out there, just south and east of the garage, or the shop there. Pretty self-explanatory. Questions about that plat at all, the property at all, before we move on? Now you'll note up above, it's called the Weibert number 1 subdivision, and goes on to describe the plat, and it'll have a page and a lot number and all of this on it. That is going to be the legal description if in fact the property sells in 2 tracts. If we sell it in 2 tracts today, it'll refer to this plat known as Weibert number 1 subdivision. Now I'll probably bring it up again in my notes here in a minute, but in the event that it sells in 1 piece, and I know a lot of you would like to buy it in 1 piece, we're going to give the buyers their option whether or not this plat gets filed or not. In other words, then, if you want to buy it just like it is, and I'll talk about that a little bit when we get into the legal description of the existing property, with your, we'll let you decide whether you want the plat to be filed and actually own 2 lots then that you could sell off, one if you wanted to, or whatever you might want to do with it, or to leave it as the one tract that we have now. Actually, there's 2 tracts, and I'll get to that in a minute. There's a smaller tract in where a cell phone tower used to sit at one time, just south of the garage, the big shop building there. There was a small tract there that a cell phone tower sat on, that Fred acquired that years ago when they ceased using the tower. But again, we'll talk about that in a minute, but depending on whether or not it sells in 1 or 2 pieces, the buyer of the 1 piece will be given an option whether or not we file the plat or not. We'll talk about that if you have concerns. Any questions before we move on? And it usually takes somebody asking 1 question, and then we'll get a whole bunch of them. So don't be afraid to ask a question. We're glad to answer them if we can. The next page in your packet, folks, shows an aerial photo of just the entire property here. That was prior to them getting any of the surveying done. But you can see again the configuration of the lot. You can see over on the left side says not a city street. We're mentioning that. You can see where the fence is down on the south end, and where we mentioned the 4 corners there that kind of confuse you. Up in the northwest corner, you see the little bobble in the yard there where the street was a little wider or something. That's where we're at. All the pins seem to be very clear at this point. Any questions? We're going to move on, folks. We're going to get into the title commitment now. Title commitment done by Black Hills Title. They're in Newcastle, Wyoming. Again, as it sits today, and we'll try not to confuse you, but you go down to item number 4, it says the title is vested in Fred J. and Doris L. Weibert, husband and wife, on parcel A, and Fred and Doris Weibert on parcel B. And parcel B in the legal description, when you go over to the next page, or A and B, you look at the next page now, it talks about the legal description. It is a lengthy legal description. Parcel A is basically the entire rectangle around the property we're just shown on the picture. That is the way it's described at this time. It talks about parcel B. That's a small lot south of the shop that was fenced. It's got the concrete, there's kind of a concrete pillar out there and a concrete, a poured concrete piece just south of the shop building. Fred bought it years ago, and it basically will go away. There's no reason it needs to be described the way it is any longer. Any questions you have about the current legal description of the property? That's the way you'll get it if you ask us not to file the plat. Don't be scared of it. There's nothing wrong with it. They're going to insure the title to it. No problems there. Just whether you want the plat filed or not will be your call. Questions there? If not, we're going to move on. You get in now to the requirements. These are requirements that are yet to be done in order for the title company to actually write their title commitment on the property, or to grant the title insurance. And if you'll look, folks, down under number 4, the attorney for the estate, we've got some work to do. There's affidavit of survivorship, order approving the sale, subject to probate petition, subject to another probate petition for Fred and Doris, a warranty deed, and so on. These are not what I'd call title flaws. They're what I would call housekeeping that has to be done yet. Much housekeeping has to be done before we can close on the property. But that's all in the works right now, being worked on as we speak. Questions there at all? Anything you see in the, I guess what I always tell people is we're here granting what they call marketable title. There's no such thing as clear title. That would be nothing showing up on a title. We're granting marketable title, meaning no mortgages, liens, anything like that that would make the property unmarketable to you. Goes on to talk about the exceptions on the next page here. There is one easement from back in 1963 to Mountain States Telephone and Telegraph. It does state that any special assessments would be an exception to the title commitment here, but we're not aware of any special assessments. It talks about the 2024 taxes, and Marguerite has assured us those have been paid. The 2024s are paid currently. We'll talk about the 2025 taxes in the purchase agreement, but all 2024 taxes and earlier have been paid. Questions as we move on? With that, we get into the to the agreement to purchase. I'm going to turn this over to Jeff Storm and let him go through that with you. We're getting close, folks. We'll be underway here in just a few minutes. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ron. I am not going to read this word for word, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go through this pretty standard purchase agreement. The one in the packet is for the entire unit, ladies and gentlemen. States that Ronald Bradeen Real Estate and Auctions, Inc. is a designated auctioneer and broker. We have a spot to fill in the 15% irrevocable earnest money today that will be due, a spot to fill in the buyer's name and the buyer's address as a deposit, and irrevocable earnest money on the purchase of the property, legally described as, and the legal description, because it's so lengthy, I have it attached as an exhibit, ladies and gentlemen. It'll be the last 2 pages attached to this entire unit purchase agreement, also known as 722 Cedar Street, Upton, Wyoming, for auction purposes. Owned by the Doris Weibert estate. Terms of the agreement: number 1, we have a spot to fill in the total purchase price. Number 2, after earnest money is credited, the remaining balance of, and we'll have that amount filled in, is to be paid in full at closing in guaranteed funds on or before October 31st, 2025. We have added an extra clause in there. Right after that, buyer and seller agree to extend closing an additional 45 days if necessary to complete any estate-related requirements noted in the title commitment that Ron just touched on just a bit ago. We're hoping we can have those settled before then, but just in case, we have a clause in there where we can extend it to make sure we have title taken care of. Marketable title will be, as defined by Wyoming Merchantable Title Standards Act, shall be conveyed by warranty deed properly executed with necessary transfer fee paid for, recording subject to any easements, restrictions, reservations, or covenants of record. The seller will furnish a policy of title insurance in the amount of the sale price. Ron touched on this already. 2024 prior year taxes will be paid for by the seller, and they are paid. 2025 taxes will be prorated to closing date based upon the 2024 tax levy. Buyer will be responsible for all subsequent taxes, possession and risk of loss on the property transfer upon closing. Number 5 is a lengthy clause. Broker shall act as escrow agent for both seller and the buyer, and it is agreed that the above earnest money deposit and the balance of the sale proceeds will be held in the Wyoming trust account of Bradeen Real Estate and Auctions, Inc. of Custer, South Dakota, in the account of the seller until time of closing. Buyer understands and agrees that the above earnest money payment is irrevocable and is not subject to buyer contingency of any kind. In the event the buyer shall not complete the purchase as in here agreed, the seller may elect to declare the earnest money as liquidated damages. Seller and purchaser, upon such election by the seller, agree that in In the event of default by purchaser, the actual damages occurring to the seller would be impracticable and extremely difficult to fix and establish. Seller and purchaser, upon such election by the seller, agree that the amount of the down payment set forth is a reasonable approximation of default, and that amount shall be the liquidated damages due to the seller. In addition, the seller may be entitled to such other remedies allowed by the laws of the state of Wyoming, including without limitation, seeking specific performance. Number 6, buyer and seller acknowledge that Ronald Bradeen, broker, and associated staff are representing the seller in a single agency relationship in this transaction. Number 7, the buyers examine the property to the extent deemed necessary, both on and off the premise, and is purchasing the property in an as-is condition. The seller, auctioneer, broker make no warranties expressed or implied and disclaim all other warranties, including the property's fitness for any particular purpose. Buyers are not relying on any statements or representations made by the auctioneer, brokers, or seller in any way. Buyer is purchasing as is, where is. Property sold by legal description only. The seller is not aware of any boundary disputes or encroachments. However, all corners have been found and set with a recent survey. Personal property included in this transaction: the window coverings, the refrigerator, kitchen range, wood stoves, any remaining personal property located on the property at closing. Buyer and seller agree to scheduling of the closing at the designated title company, Black Hills Title Company of Newcastle, Wyoming, and to share equally in the cost of the closing fee, with buyer and seller paying for customary closing costs incurred by this transaction. Time is of the essence for purpose of performance. This agreement is governed by the state of Wyoming. Parties agree that this writing constitutes the entire agreement between them, and that there are no other oral or collateral agreements or understandings of any kind or character. If any provisions in this agreement shall not be invalid or unenforceable to any extent, the remainder of this agreement shall not be affected thereby and shall be enforced to the fullest extent permitted by law. The last few clauses are assigned and by the buyers, signed by the sellers here in Upton today. We have signature spots for buyers, sellers, auctioneer, and then, as I stated, the last 2 pages are Exhibit A, the legal description for the entire property. Any questions on that full entire agreement, purchase agreement? All right. The only differences, ladies and gentlemen, for Tract 1 or Tract 2, obviously is going to be the legal description is going to be a lot shorter. It will be the Weibert number 1 subdivision, Lot 1 or Lot 2. The Tract 1 will be word for word as the entire unit. Tract 2, clause number, let me look here. Must be 9, 10, right there. The personal property clause was changed because obviously in Tract 2 you aren't going to get blinds and a refrigerator and a stove and those kind of things. So that would be the only 2 changes in the tract purchase agreements, ladies and gentlemen. Any other questions? Here's Ron.
Thank you, Jeff. I know that those purchase agreements seem like they're complicated and all, and believe it or not, if you've dealt in real estate lately, they're pretty simple, basically. Pretty simple, basic purchase agreements. Think everything's there we need to cover all the bases. And again, if you have questions, let us know at this time. With that, folks, what you've been waiting for, the method of sale. We'll go through that. Very important, our method of sale. How we're going to offer 2 tracts and 1 and be fair to everybody and decide who's going to own the property one way or the other. It does state that the following procedure used to determine the new owners of the Doris Weibert property in Upton, Wyoming, and so forth. It says to become a qualified online bidder, you must register and obtain the bidder's number. Pay close attention. The property will be offered as follows. Please refer to the computer stream listing tract numbers, amount bid, the bidder number, and the hold or sold status throughout the course of the auction. After opening statements and questions, I'll ask for opening bids on Tract 1, the home, shop, and improvements on 1.1 acres, all in total dollars. Total dollars on tract number 1. Auctioneers will calculate that total bid, place the bid number, and note hold in the appropriate column next to that tract number 1. I'll then ask for bids on tract number 2, the undeveloped 2.46 acre lot, again in total dollars. A lot of times you see we do it by the acre and all in larger parcels. This is going to be by total dollars today on the 2.46 acres. Again, we'll calculate and place the total bid, the bid number, and write hold on that column, again next to tract number 2. The little machine itself here will do the calculations to determine the overall price based upon those 2 individual tract bids. At that time, ladies and gentlemen, the entire property will then be offered at a price over and above that amount, again in total dollars. We do reserve the right to set the minimum acceptable raise. The high bid on the entire property will then be calculated and posted. Now, it's very important, if there's no bidding occurring on the entire unit at that time, the auctioneers will offer and sell the tracts individually in consecutive order, starting with tract number 1, and the auction would be over. That's if there's no raise on the entire unit after we've offered tracts 1 and 2 individually. The property will be offered individually and as a unit until no further bids are received one way or the other. Multiple rounds of bidding may occur. However, once the property is offered either individually or as a unit without establishing an overall amount greater than the current high bid, the property will not be offered in that manner again. We'll determine whether it's going to sell in 1 tract or 2. At that point, upon determining the manner of sale, either individual tracts or the entire unit, bidding will be opened briefly to establish the successful bidder or bidders. Now, folks, it's your competitive bidding, not the auctioneers, that determine how many rounds will be held to determine the sale price and the new owners. You'll want to watch that status column. Status will be changed from hold to sold on the screen next to the appropriate tracts. All property will be sold to the highest bidder without minimum or reserve bid. Now, one thing to keep in mind, and I'll note this to you when and if this happens today, but in the event that a bidding occurs on the entire unit, individual tract bidders will be given an opportunity to advance their own bid in an attempt to achieve an overall amount greater than the entire unit bid. And I'll explain that in a second, folks. If we offer tracts 1 and 2, we get a bid on them, we tie it all together, and we have a pretty substantial raise on the whole unit. I'm going to go back then to tracts 1 and 2. Whatever that amount happens to be on the whole unit, we are working against that bid to achieve a dollar amount greater than is bid on the entire unit. Now, you might be sitting out there in the crowd with a $100,000 bid on the house or something, and no one is bidding against you, but you're willing to give $200 for it. Well, that's when I'm going to turn to you and say, the high bidder on unit 1, is that your best bid? And you certainly can raise your bid, because what you're doing, folks, then really is just bidding against the entire unit bidder. That's what you're doing there. So we're going to give you that opportunity to raise your bid. We move on to tract number 2 and do the same thing. If we're still what I call underwater, if we're still below the amount bid on the entire unit, we'll ask each of those 2 bidders if they want to place their very best bid, basically the 2 of them working against the person bidding on it all, to give you both the opportunity to bid your best. Because, folks, we're serious when we mean this, that if we ever offer it one way or the other and we don't have a raise, it's going to sell the other way. So what this does, today is sale day. This is when it's going to happen. We've been doing this type of auctions for decades. There's no way to beat the system. You just have to be the high bidder. And sitting back and waiting and whispering to your wife or partner or something, let's wait till the next round. Well, you can do that, but you're probably not going to end up buying property today. You're going to be one that gets left behind. My dad said it 1,000 times, if you get in the lead and stay in the lead here, you're going to own property. You sit back and wait for another round and try to sneak around the back door somehow, you're just going to get left out. Again, folks, stop us at any time if you're confused. I think you'll figure things out right away here, and not that difficult to follow. But please don't be one of those that come up later and go, well, my dad told me not to bid till round 7, and you guys sold out in the second round. Folks, you've got to pay attention. You got to bid when it's your turn to bid, frankly. Any questions before we get underway? Tell you what's a great piece of property here in Upton. When I first came over here to look at this with the Weibert girls, I was just amazed by that beautiful thinned out timber. You can drive about anywhere around back in there. Just the unbelievable seclusion and room to spread your wings back in there. The home is so well built. Certainly it can use updating. But I tell you what, folks, what a neat home it is. Just so many things to say about it. That shop itself, I'd love to have a shop like that myself. Beautiful big shop. Just the right kind of property, and its location, of course, being right next to the schools and everything, just couldn't be better. I think we've said enough on that. Just get in and help yourselves, and don't let it get away, is all I can tell you. Anything I've left out, Jeff? Any questions at all? Anybody online? Again, any question you have, just type into the message window and push send. Chauncey will stop the sale and take those questions at any time. One last note I have here. We do reserve the right to take short recesses or grant a short recess to any active bidder that asks for one. We've got nothing to do here today but sell the property, get the last dollar that we can. But when we have determined we've got the last dollar, the property will absolutely sell to the highest bidder or bidders without reserve here today. Questions at all? We're ready to get underway. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, we're going to offer tract number 1 alone now. Tract 1 alone, the home on 1.01 acre. Now, it's obvious, or I guess I should say, everybody comes here wanting to buy it all. Geez, I'd like to have the whole thing. What'll probably happen as we get along here a ways, you're going to find out, well, maybe I don't have money enough to buy the whole thing or something. So folks, if you kind of know that all that you want is the house, or all that you want is the development land, maybe you have I call it development land, maybe you have a idea of building one big beautiful house right back there in the backside or something. If that's all you want, I would really encourage you to get in and bid now, because certainly there's going to be people bid on the entire unit. There's no question about it. So you can bid now or you can bid later, but folks, I just can't stress enough to just get in the lead and stay there, and you'll own land. But sitting back, you're probably going to get left out. With that said, if you're wanting the house alone, here's your chance. Get in and help yourselves on tract number 1. And will you bid? Would have bid $200,000 is all here at $200,000 bill. At 200 one time with a 2 would have been $100,000 is all here. $100,000 bill at 100,000 where? Would have been $100,000 bill at 100,000 where? Would have been one here. Would give me $50,000 is all. 50 and now 75. 50 and I'm at 75. 75. 75,000. 75. Now $100,000 sir at 75 and 100 where? At 71 a quarter. $120 bill at 120 where? At 125. Now half sir. One on the phone. Now 75 at 175. 175. 175. Once we give me $200,000 and now 25 at $220 bill at 2 and 25 2 and 25 $20 bill at 2 and 25 for you at 2 and 25 2 and 25. Would 210 help you any, sir? We'll do that for you. 210 is all at 2 and about 10 where? At 10 here, 2 and 10. Online bidders jump right in there. Give me 210 is all at 2 and about 10 where? Would have been 10 2 would have been 10 with 210 on them here at 2 and about 10 where? Would have been 10 2 and 10 210 would have been $210,000 on them. Yes or no at 210. I'm going to hold the bid of $200,000. What is your bid number, young man? Number 340. I had this gentleman right here in. Did you think you were in? No, okay. I had a gentleman right in here. Bidder number 340. 340. I'm going to give Jeff just a second to fill these numbers in. Those of you online should be able to see this all too. And we'll get the numbers filled in here and kind of show you how this is working. You notice now we got $200,000 listed on track number 1, the total bid, bidder number 340, and we're telling you that we're holding his bid while at this time. We're going to move on to track number 2 now, the 2.46 acre undeveloped property, about 75 feet of frontage on Cedar Street, runs all the way back to state land in the back. What a gorgeous, couldn't ask for a more gorgeous piece of property in the little town of Upton. Get in, help yourselves here on track number 2 alone now. And we'll bid here. Give me $100,000. It's all here. $100 bill at $100 bill. $100,000 for. Give me $50,000 on track 2 alone here at $50 bill. $50,000 on here. $50,000 bill. $50,000 where? Well, again, I mentioned earlier, there's people here that want it all. There's going to be no question about it. And so it's going to go up for more. It's not going to, the property is not going to sell today for $200,000, folks. So if you want to own just the property, just the bare land, you need to get in and bid now, because it's going to go up from there. Trust me. Give me $50,000 on that 2.5 acres here. At $50, it would have been $25,000 at 25 where? At now 30 at 25, 50 a little bit 25 bid 50, 50 a little bit 25 bid 50. It would have been $40,000 and at 20, I had you at 25 already, sir. I need 40 from you, and now $50,000 is off. $50,000 50 at 50, 50,000. It's your turn. 50 now 75. 50 at 75. 70 at 75 and 100. 75 and 100,000. Then at 75 and 100 where would have been 1, sir, but 100. $100 here at $100 bill, 100 at 75 $100 bill at 100 where, sir? We're at 100, yes, sir, $100 bill at 100 where, 100. How about $90,000? That help any, sir? 75 would have been 90,000 bill, 75 would have been 90 at 75 at 90 where? Would have been 90, 70, 90, yes or no? 90. Anybody else online here at 90,000? 75 would have been $90,000 on them here. I'm going to hold the bid of $75,000 from bidder number 340. 340. That's interesting. What he's trying to do is just cover all the bases. He's here to buy today. I can see that. He's covering all his bases. We're going to give Jeff a minute here to get caught up. You can see where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. Watch up above here now. Don't pay any attention to average price per acre. We use this all the time on land auctions around the country. Don't worry about average price per acre. It looks like a lot if you look at it that way. But the running total of the 2 bids, pretty easy math, $275,000 we have bid on the entire unit in 2 individual bids. That all makes sense to you? We're now going to move down to the unit. We got 3.47 acres there. We're going to offer in 1 unit. We got to start at $275 and go from there. Is there anybody that needs a minute? Does anybody want to make a quick phone call, something like that? Before we move on here, very important part in our auction. Now here's the story, folks. If we do not have a raise on at this time, it'll not be offered as a unit again. If we don't have a raise over $275,000, it'll not be offered as a unit again. The only way you can buy it all is to do just what this gentleman's doing right now. You got to go back and battle against 2 different parties and win both of those. If you want to buy it all, now is your chance to bid. Does everyone understand? And that's why I am asking, does anybody need a minute or 2? I don't want you to come back and go, I did not understand that. Didn't know that I had to bid. Does everybody understand you bid now on the entire unit or you won't get another chance? You bet. Get in, help yourselves here, and we'll bid here. Give me $300,000 on the entire unit here at $300,000 at 300 where would have been 3, yes or no? $300,000 bill at 300,000 where would have been 3. How about you at $300,000 bill, sir? At 300 at 300 with $300,000 on them at 3 where, sir? Would 290 help you any? Would 290 help you at all? At 290, but 290 at $290,000 on them. 275 would have been 290. At 790 here, 290 here, but $290 bill. At 270, 290. At 290 where? At 790 but time would have been 90. Yes or no? 290 at 290 is all here. 275 at 90. I'll do it the hard way. The best we're going to do would have been $280,000, guys. That's the lowest we're going to go here. 275. Give me 280 is all. At 275 would have been 80. At 280, 280 a little bit. 275 at 280 on them here. At 275 and 80 where? At 75 at 8, 280, but 280 can be 280. Yes or no? 280,000 would have been 280. Would have been 280. Yes or no? Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm going to do, this is an important enough part of the auction. I'm going to let Chauncey be the keeper of the time. I'm going to take exactly a 5-minute recess, no longer. 5-minute recess. I'm going to talk to a couple of these bidders and come back. We'll be offering that entire unit, but again, as I mentioned, if there's not a raise and 280 is the best we're going to do, we will close out the bidding on the entire unit. We'll go back to track number 1, offer it and sell it. We'll go on to track number 2 and offer it and sell it, and the auction will be over. Does everybody understand that? With that said, start the clock there, Chauncey. We've got 5 minutes, folks. If you need any questions answered, anything you need here this time, 5 minutes. Thank you. I've kind of polled the crowd here. If any of you online bidders have any questions, concerns, need another minute or two or anything, just let us know right now. As I mentioned earlier, sometimes they go quicker than others, but when we've determined we got the last dollar, it's going to be sold. The keeper of the time says 2 minutes. We'll be right back to you. 2 minutes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, sorry we ran over just a minute. We're going to get back now and finalize the bidding here on the entire unit. One thing I just looked up, I wanted to mention, we didn't get into it earlier. The full and true value that the Weston County has it on right now, and let's face it, the Weston County assessor has a tough job. Nobody likes to have that job. But they've got this as full and true value at $316,000, give or take a few dollars. And folks, it is rare, I shouldn't say rare, but it's not that often that we sell land for less than assessed valuation. You know, we're plenty under that right now. Just one more indication that there's room here for any of you, one way or the other. And I don't think they've got a, you know, at least what I consider a fair value on that house, but they don't have anywhere near what that back lot should be worth on it. And so I think you're kind of standing in the light on this deal. It's you guys' decision. Talked to a guy or two, said, well, it's just out of my range. I can't do it. And we don't want anybody to get overextended here today. It's not what we're here to do. But folks, if you have the ability to buy this, and I know I'm talking to a dozen of you or better that do, don't let this get away. If you've got the ability to buy it, just hang right in there. It's been 25 plus years since it's been on the market, since Fred and Doris bought it. It could be that long or longer again before it comes available again. So if you've got the ability, folks, we're not here to twist any arms, but don't let it get away. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, if there are no other questions, we're going to offer the entire unit. I think you're all very much aware if we do not have a raise at this point, it'll not be offered this way again. Are there any questions? With that said, we have $275,000 bid. Would have been $300. At $300, where I take $280,000 in. At $275,080. At $275,080, $280,000 on the here. At $280,000. At $275,080. $280, where? At $275,080. At 200 time at 280 on them here. At 275 at 280. At 75 at 80 here. At 280 at 280 on the bill. At 275 and $80,000 on them here. At 275 and would have been 280. Anybody at 280? Tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, going one time at 275 would have been 280. Going twice on the entire unit at 275 would have been 280. Yes or no? Your last chance at 275 would have been $280,000 on it here. We're going to close the bidding out on the entire unit. Won't be offered in that way again. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as I promised earlier, we are now going to offer Tract 1. Start before we started there at $200,000. We're going to offer it, go as far as we can, and sell the property. We'll move on to Tract number 2 and do the same. The auction will be over. Now, I want to ask, is there anybody online or otherwise that needs a minute or two to talk? Anybody need to call a banker or your bookie or Aunt Sally or wherever you're getting your money? Before we sell individual tracts, does anybody need a minute or two? Does anybody have any questions? Is there anybody going to come up and say, Ron, I'm waiting for round 7? I'm not going to get that question today. I've had it happen, believe it or not. Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, it's going to sell in 2 parcels today. We'll talk about that house quickly. Folks, you look at $200,000, a 2,000 square foot house, you know, we don't have to talk about what the replacement cost of it would be. 2 times that, 2.5 times that to replace it. That's not mentioned in the shop, not mentioned in the yard fences and the other little storage buildings and all. Guys, it'd be a $400,000 deal to put it together today. Granted, it would be, a lot of square footage in it. It'd be a $400,000 deal to replace, and sure, it'd have more modern countertops and carpet and wood floors, whatever you want. But you can go in there, folks. This is what I've seen so often at these type of sales. Somebody buys this, and within 6-8 months, the people have gone in and put the laminate flooring in and put a nice countertop in it and done a little of this, a little of that. People come in and go, why didn't I think of this? We could have done that. Just think what you could do with that house, folks, and paying $200,000, $2.25, $2.5 for it is not out of line in this day and age. I think you all know it. I don't have to pick on you about it. That's kind of a neat deal too. You notice that they didn't want to scoop the driveway, so we just covered it up. That's a cowboy engineering again, I like to call that. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, here's your last chance to own the Weibert home and get it up yourselves here. I got 200,000 bid. Would have been 2 1/4 at 2.25 bill at 2 and 25, 2.25 bill at 2 and 25 where at 2 and 25, 2 and 20. Give me $210,000 bill at 2 and about 10 where at 2 and about 10 here 10 now 210 on them here at 2 and about 10 where would have been 10,000 here 2 and about 10 where would have been 10 here 210 on them at 2 and about 10 where would have been 10 10 2 about 10 10 2 and 10. Anybody online jump in if you want there. 210 is all at 2 and about 10. The best I can do, I'll take $205,000 is all at 2 and about 5 where at 2 and about 5 2 and 5 2 5 on 2 5 on them at 2 and about 5 where at 2 and about 5 2 and about 5. How in the world, I'm looking at you, the last bidder, how can you tell that close? There's no way you can tell that close on that deal. Give me $205,000 is all at 2 and about 5 where would have been 5 2 and 5 2 5 on them here 2 and about 5 where would have been 205 2 and 5 on them here at 2 and about 5 where would have been 5 2 and 5 would have been 25. Anybody at 25? Yes or no? Ladies and gentlemen, I'll ask you one last time. Is there anybody have any needs here? Do you want to take a minute to call somebody? We don't want to have you come up later. You know, I had this happen once too. Had a guy who was doing paperwork up front. I'd asked if he wanted a break, and he came up later and said, Ron, I called home and I won the lottery. Found out he won the lottery. He'd have went a lot further. So it happened. I'm not kidding you. So tell me, folks, is there anybody needs to make a quick call, maybe to find something like that out where you'd go a little further? 200, 205, yes or no? What do you say at 25? $205,000 on them here. Tell you what, going one time at 200,000 would have been 205. Going twice here at 200,000 would have been 205, yes or no? Your last chance at 200,000 on tract 1 would have been 205, yes or no? Sold the property for $200,000, tract 1, to bidder number 340. Congratulations, young man. Appreciate that. We're going to move quickly now on to tract number 2, ladies and gentlemen. This could be the bargain of the day right here, ladies and gentlemen. Tract number 2, 2.46 acres, just $75,000 bid on that. What would a good lot, I don't know what's available around Upton, what's a good just small city household lot worth in town? Can you buy one for $40,000? Or I know over in the hills it costs you lots more than that. Can you buy a good lot for $30,000, $40,000 in Upton right now? And folks, you got 2.46 acres here. You know, a lot of times I don't like to talk about development. Sometimes that's a naughty word around. But also, folks, it's going to sell in 2 pieces now. We know that. What I want to ask you is, what about just to go back in the back corner there and build a gorgeous home? Back in the back side, there'd be 100 yards to any one of your neighbors around you. Right next to the state land there and all, folks, and what a gorgeous spot it'd be just for one lot. I don't think anybody'd hold that against you. Go back there and build one home or go in and split it down the middle or something. That's not really developing it. You could get away with that pretty easily. So think about that before you let it get away. Think about this, folks. Pay $100, $150 or something for that lot. Go in there and build your home in the back and offer, and just keep one more lot. Just carve one more lot, maybe an acre lot, right behind the home there, right behind the house. Carve off one acre lot in there, and it wouldn't be too many years down the road, you'd sell that one lot for what you paid for the whole thing. If you don't believe me, just try it. You'd do it. You could sell that. You could sell an acre lot in Upton, Wyoming a few years from now for $100,000. Trust me. I'm singing to the choir, I think, so I'm going to go ahead and sell. But ladies and gentlemen, here's your last chance on tract number 2, 2.46 acres. We have $75,000 bid is all. Your last chance here at 75. Give me $100,000 is all here at 75 and 100. Where would have been 1? Yes, not available. At 75 and 100,000 is on them here at 75 and 100,000. At 75 100,000. 75. I'll do it the hard way. Give me $80,000 is all here at 75. Would have been 80 at 75. But it's not available at 75 and 80. Where 80 times 75 and 80. 75 and 80 would be $80,000 on them here at 75 and 80. Where at 75 80 but 80,000 not available at 75 and 80. What do you say? At $80,000 on them here at 75 and 180. Where 80 times 75 and 80. Anybody online at 80? 75 $80,000 is all. 75 $80,000 on them here. Now 90. 80 with 90,000, 80 with 90,000 on them. 80 with 90 where 90,000, 80 with 90,000 on them. 80 with 90 where and 90 with time with 90,000, 80 with 90,000 on them. 80 with 90 where and 90 with time with 90. It's your turn at 90,000, 80 with 90,000, 90 with 90,000 on them. 80 with 90 where 90 with time. Do you want it at $90,000 is all here. 80 with 90 where would have been 90, yes or no? 90 with time with 90,000 bill. They're having a little conference there. We'll give them a minute to chat. Give them just a minute to chat here. We're not in any hurry. Give me $90,000 is all. 90,000 is all. 80 would have been 90,000, 90 bid 90. Now 100,000 and 90 hundred bill and 90 bid one. Give me 100 bid 90 bid $100,000 on the mirror and 90 bid 100 bill and 90 bid 100 where and 90 bid one. Here bid 100 bid 90 bid $100,000 on the mirror and 90 bid 100 and 90 bid one. But 100 bid 90 bid $100,000 on the mirror. 100 bill 90 bid $100,000 on the mirror. Would have been $100,000 is all and 90 bid $100,000 on the mirror and 90 bid one where would have been one. Was able to 100 bill 90 bid $100,000 on the mirror. Steve, would 95 help you any? 95 help you any? 95 bid $100,000 is all, sir. At 95 at 100 where? At 95 100 bill. At 95 at 100 was able to 100 bid 95 at 100,000 on the bill. At 95 at 100 where? At 100 bid 95 but $100,000, sir. 95 $100,000 is all. At 95 at 100 at 95 at 100 bill. 95 at 100,000 on the bill. 95 at 100 where? At 1 but 100 bid 95 with 100,000. We'll let you guys chat. I might make a lot of noise up here. Go ahead and chat if you need to. Yep. Control your neighbors by owning it. I'll bet that's one of the biggest things that Fred and Doris enjoyed about the place was the elbow room they had. They had a lot of elbow room around them. Give me $100,000 is all, sir. I got 95,000 bid. I need $100,000 is all. At 95 and 100, 95 and 100, and now 5, 105 is all 105 where, at 1, 5, 1, 5, at 1, 5 where, at 5, 5, 1, 500, 500, at 1, 5 where, would have been 5, 5, 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, at 1, 5 where, at 5, 5, 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, 5, 105, 105, yes or no, what do you say about 105 bill, at 1, 5 where, at 5, 5, 5, 1, 500, 105, 105, they're having a little conference too. We'll just let them chat here a second. 100,000, 105,000 is all. 100,000, give me 5 little bit, 1 5 where, 5 little 1 5 1 5 1 here, 5 where, 5 5 1 5 1 5 is 105. What do you say at 1 and 5? 105, yes or no? We say at 105. Do you need some time, Steve? If not, he says no. 100,000, give me 105. What do you say at 105? 100,000, 105 on them here. I tell you what, going one time at 100,000 would have been 105. Going twice here at 100,000 would give you 105, yes or no? Your last chance here at 100,000 at 105, what do you say, yes or no? I sold the property for $100,000 to bidder number 340. Congratulations, folks. Glad you got that bought. I think the neighbors around you are pretty happy that you got it too, so appreciate that. Congratulations very much. I want to thank the Weibert family here for having us up here today, and for our little auction we had earlier. Keep your eyes on our website, folks. Lots of auctions coming up. If we can get this gentleman up front here to do our paperwork, we'll have you down the road here. But again, thank you, folks, very much for working with us at today's auction. Thank you.